Thank you, everyone, for joining me. My name is Katherine Elaine. For this podcast, I'll be discussing a vision the Holy Spirit gave me around the age of 24 of Christ's private suffering in the Garden of Gethsemane. It's important to know I was taken into this vision, not told his identity. I wasn't privy to any particular details written of Christ's experience. I wasn't given my memory either. While I'm observing him, it wasn't as if I would suddenly recognize him and what was written about him in the gospel accounts. I was just the bystander, a witness of his private moment alone with the Father. Matthew 26:39, he had his disciples with him, the three, and he went a little further from them. So it's interesting in this account, the Holy Spirit had me walk up and stand right next to Jesus as he's undergoing this private struggle alone with the Holy Spirit. From a young age, I'd been taken by the Holy Spirit into the realm of the Spirit. So at this point, I was acclimated to going to bed and suddenly appearing in the realm of the Spirit with him. This wasn't an unusual experience. Me not being told Christ's identity, this is what I assumed. I was watching a person. The Spirit of God wanted to tell me some things for them. I appeared standing on a hillside at night, sometime during the hours of darkness, with the Holy Spirit at my left side. The heaviness that filled the air, heaviness of spirit filled me. Straight away I perceived war. Appearing in silhouette against the various shades of black and gray. Just beyond some trees from where I stood, I found a man standing all alone at the crest of the hill. A young man with dark wavy hair down to his shoulders and wearing a light-toned garment. Luke 22:41, he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast. This was actually a very accurate description of the distance between me and this man. The Holy Spirit instructed me, go up to that man. When I drew near, I saw he was trembling and greatly depleted of strength. Aware, conscious, I came to realize and understood he was in great anguish. I could tell he was up for hours and was exhausted. His head hung low. Suddenly, in exhaustion, he fell to his knees, dropped his head into his hands, and he began rubbing his face, desperately trying to calm down his own mind. Matthew 26:39, he went a little further and fell on his face. My spirit's struggling to watch this man, looking on and interpreting his physical and psychological discomfort. It was apparent to me he was in the beginning stages of shock. In his quickest relief, I perceived his inner expressions for help. He was praying. And to pacify through self-touch, I watched him moving his hands back and forth on his face with firm pressure. He was warring extreme anxiety, sorrow, pain. He was cradling his own face, trying to self-soothe. Matthew 26:38, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Watch with me. I watched him struggle. It was apparent to me he was dying right before my very eyes. I stood there and had to contend with him being surmounted by death, and I could do nothing but be a witness of it. Of course, I don't know this man, but I could recognize him dying. Matthew 26:38, Jesus knew he was dying. I finally called to the Holy Spirit. It was as if everything came to a sudden halt, and appearing on the man's forehead near the top of his hairline, I saw him sweat a great drop of blood. Luke 22:44, and being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was as it were great drops of blood falling down to the ground. His face was bowed. I watched that droplet of blood fall. Like a tear being shed, it fell slowly down the side of his face. When the blood pooled at the tip of his nostril, and that very second the man looked up and locked his eyes directly onto mine. Suddenly my eyes were open. Jesus. My heart's pounding as his eyes bored into mine. All I felt was his love. Everything is now hitting me all at once. The realization that all this man's suffering was my fault. And the realization I was neither in the present nor future time, but within not just any man's, but Christ's own account of his past. John 15:26, the Spirit of truth who proceeds from the Father, he will bear witness about me. There I was, with the one who stood next to Jesus in that private hour. I cannot describe in words to observe Jesus all alone, going through so much physical, mental, and spiritual pain because of me. Christ, thrown into psychological terror and panic, he did not run. He did not call down 12 legions of angels to defend him. Accountability was bearing down upon me in the company of all the spirit world, that I was the one who made the bride price so horrible. After a few seconds, I was abruptly taken away from him, out of the spirit, awakened in my bed. I instantly sat up and wept bitterly. I said in my heart, Jesus just looked me in the eyes. So now I have seen his suffering. The new covenant in my blood, shed for you.